Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Straight Out BPS podcast with Rudy and Jamari. This is episode 21. We're excited to have you here. How you doing, Jamari?
I am doing well, my friend. Doing really, really good. I'm excited to be here. How are you?
Well, I am here pushing P, as I say, like a little bit under the weather, and with the change in temperature, I got excited. It was, in the 50s. When you get excited like that, you start not wearing your jacket, and then
Yeah,
they I'm feeling it, but I'm okay. I'll be fine. We're
yeah.
here. I just want to take this time to last week was this is Women History Month. Last
Woo-hoo.
week was International Women's Day. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's 365 days. We celebrate you guys,
Yep.
but the month and the day is a chance for us to recommit to our celebration of women and to reaffirm as men our stand as ally, and as we continue those conversations that will lead for change. So we're excited again to make our stand heard. Yeah, we salute you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many um women in our lives. I know I can say, and I'm sure same for Rudy, that have made an impact in our lives. Also that we work with. So many, for me, so many brilliant counselors that I work with at my school that just, are amazing. And I learn from them each and every day. And it's an honor to, work beside them. So um, yeah, I'm an ally. I'm glad to say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we
So
got going on?
so before we get into that, I want to say, thank you for everyone for listening and helping us grow this podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast to get the latest updates. We also have a Google form going around to collect emails so we can keep you updated on, the latest thing happening within our podcast, because we're working on some things. We're getting some people to get on the podcast. It's going to be amazing. Please follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts. You can find us, Google Podcasts. We are everywhere. So yeah, I'm excited
Everywhere.
everywhere. So I'm excited to get into today's episode. First, I wanted to shout out again our Tech Boston Bears. They are going to the the Final Four for the cities. And
Out to the
they
Bears.
shout out to the Bears. They are playing so well. I went to the game last night, nearly lost my voice, but I rested it, and I'm here. So I'm excited for them. I always enjoy, cheering them on. They've been such a, just such a blessing to the community. There's something about sports, man, that just like brings people together. Um, Especially school
Yes,
sports.
it does. It does. It's community building, like
Yeah,
it's a sense of togetherness and purpose. Like
yeah,
we are all achieving something,
yeah,
and we are learning. We are getting better. We are tapping into level of ourselves. At the same time, we're pushing the limits, and that's together.
yeah. So it's dope. It's dope. So with that, this week's episode is not going to be too long. We wanted to touch on a few things that are happening within our communities, within our education system, and everything like that. So we're going to get into the views from our latest news. And this is kind of a hot topic that has been going around. So lately, the Massachusetts, mandate has been dropped as far as mask. within like the school system and everything like that. But BPS will not um require, is going to keep the mask mandate within schools. Um, so there has been kind of like people saying, you know, one instance, we want the mask, and the other instance, we don't want the mask. Massachusetts as a whole has dropped it, but individual districts can make the suggestion, I mean, not the suggestion, but the rule on, you know, whether they want to continue that or not. Um, so what do you think, Rudy, about, I guess, the mask mandates as far as, you know, BPS and Massachusetts as a whole regarding that school system?
I think we are trending in a good direction in terms of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what? I am okay with it. I am okay with it for the simple fact because the kids don't like to wear the mask,
Mm-hmm.
right? Teachers, staff have to constantly remind students to keep your mask on. Do that. Do that. I think once it's phased out of BPS, that will like you won't necessarily have to put attention on that. But
Right.
I think like we have to look at ourselves. Like right now I'm feeling a little bit of the weather. I don't have COVID, tested, don't have it.
Yeah.
But if I'm going outside, I'll put a mask on for the simple fact that I have a cough,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like that's something like people can look at. Like I think mask is here to stay for a
Mm-hmm.
long term, but it
Mm-hmm.
will be more on an individual person. And people
Yeah.
should be encouraged, they should um do that upon themselves. Like if they feel under the weather,
Mm-hmm.
like one, stay home, right? Don't spray like and then you always at the phase at the end of
Yeah.
getting sick where you're still coughing, but you energy's there, like like wear your mask. Like
Yeah.
flu season,
Mm-hmm.
the cold settle, like definitely. So I think I'm for it because I feel like um we well enough into the herd immunity. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is a time where people are getting what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are vaccinated, some people are boosted,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are not. And
Yeah.
we wanted the freedom. Now you get to like what's out there, so you have the
Yeah.
choice to deal with it. But and dealing with it, the only thing about dealing with it is like how you impact others with your decision, right?
Right.
So I am hoping people will still have some kind of mandate for themselves. And like
Mm-hmm.
if I notice those situations, this is how I'm gonna approach it. And not
Yeah.
just like free for all. I don't care whether I'm feeling sick or not. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think, bro, I guess what confuses me, right, is that these mandates are being dropped in the city of Boston, right? Like you no longer need like a a mask to go into a restaurant, or you need to show your vaccine card or whatever. Um, so, but you're requiring students when they get to school to put their mask on, but when they leave and go to like a restaurant or go out to stores and like all that other stuff,
It's different.
you you don't require that.
It's different. And I think the reason why we don't see it that much is because we work with high school students.
Mm-hmm.
Middle like student in general, like I'm sorry, uh, they're not pretty well. They don't do a pretty good job at taking care of themselves when they have a cold.
Yeah.
Like when they manage those things. So I think having a mask within the school system, because I do we have a date on when it's gonna go out of BPS?
Like the mask.
Yeah,
No, so right now it's indefinite that you need a mask to be
yeah.
like in the school building.
And then
For
you also have to think right now who's the demographic that the um virus is attacking right now is the young one. So I could see that. So the mandate is simply like, to it is like the name's the mandate to encourage people to, like, if you want to do this. So more people who have it, they have
Yeah.
enough herd immunity. Because remember, at the beginning of the pandemic, it took a long time for young students to have this available. So the demographic on the percentage of adult versus young adult who are vaccinated and boosted probably much higher, you know.
Mhm.
And then now um the virus is mostly attacking young students. So I I
I'm just like,
yeah,
it's
I
more
see what
so.
you're saying.
Yeah, I'm on like, let's protect them holistically
Yeah.
and like be like
But we
mass
also want freedom of
people.
choice, right? That's why people have been wondering, like, I think
Yeah,
it's you in a setting right now where people, like, you have enough herd immunity, so
yeah,
does not impact people in the same rate and the same fashion that it was at the beginning. Like
yeah.
right now, we may get COVID again, like,
Yep.
but it's gonna be different.
Yeah. I
It's-
just feel like it's just like we don't know. Like it could be another mutation, but now you're letting people
well,
go
so
out here
how do
without.
you prevent mutation? Is the prevent mutation is having 100% everybody 100% shot, or like taking a
Way that's
shot, or
gonna
like,
happen.
and it's not happening. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna mutate. So if people are doing that thing, they not taking shot, they're drinking tea, and I'm okay. I don't judge anyone
right.
don't take it, but I feel like, you know, with when there comes a point in your life where you have to face hard decisions, and those are choices, like,
Hmm.
and whatever choices you make, you have to be ready for what the consequence. The thing about COVID, it was like the individual choices impacted us as a community.
Right.
Because whenever I make a personal choice or individual choice, like, as
Mm.
long as it doesn't impact me, I'm okay, right?
Yeah.
Because that's your choice, you're right. But it's when the individual choice impact us as a community.
As a community, yeah.
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 You know?
Um, no, I feel that. I mean, and the other thing is, while we're on this topic of like vaccination and mass mandates, one of the things I had a hard time with this week was I had a particular program come into the school to talk to students and recruit them for a college program, right? And then one of the questions were, um, like, if you're vaccinated, if you're unvaccinated, you can't participate in that college going program because it's on campus. So my thing is, you are like taken away from this resource that these students need based on if they're unvaccinated. And I'm all like,
You mind telling me where was the happening? What was the school?
so it was at UMass Boston. The particular program is housed at UMass Boston.
Okay, I
Um,
don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. And so I'm just like, bro, I had like 15 kids. 5 out of the 15 were unvaccinated. So that means like they cannot participate. And these are like top students. And so I'm all like, so you're telling me that they won't be able to benefit from the program because they're unvaxxed? Like,
I, okay, I, I I don't. So let me. So I try to understand different side, right? I hear you.
right.
Like, that's messed up, but also, like, when you think about the program, those are like, because I was dealing with that with my student on the other side, because I have some student
Yeah.
who literally had to take a year and 3 semester off because of not being vaccinated,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the school's policy to create a herd immunity inside the school, the university.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right now we are trying to do college visits. They're not accepting any students who are not vaccinated,
Mm-hmm.
right? As the mandate, change, we may see a different stance, and
Right.
like maybe closer like towards the end of the spring. But the program had to adapt to the school policy because they're responsible. Like it's you whenever you're on campus, everything that happened on campus is related to the school. So I
Yeah.
can see why the program had to that because that's the school policy. You're gonna bring kids here. Well, it's
Right.
the same way right now we're trying to plan college visit for juniors,
Mm-hmm.
and like my men's group, like I couldn't take them even with the open up. There's some place I couldn't take them because I ran an anonymous survey, and there was a few students who were not vaccinated. And
Right.
because and that's a choice that now I have control. Like like yes, I'm vaccinated, but I want them to still feel a sense of we're doing this together. So
Yeah.
I created those um so we decided not to go anywhere, and then we just have our thing inside until we're in a space where everybody can go outside and experience the same. And I'm not
Right.
like, oh, just because you guys are vaccinated, because as an educator, I cannot do that. I want them to be vaccinated, but I respect their choice. So I can't be able, but you have to think about organization and university are not on the ground level because the
Yeah.
amount of the people they have to they have around are way greater than the amount of students. So you have your
Yeah.
students, like you can make those decisions for your student as an educator, but it's different. So I understand that. So it sucks.
Yeah. It
I
sucks.
want them, but it's just like unless the mandates change, that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
and that's why I said earlier, decision and consequences, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes like decision and consequences.
But there should be some type of I feel like exception if it has to do
There
with like,
should be, but
yeah.
you know how much intentionality and planning and resources that goes towards that. Not a
Mm.
lot of people program are willing to do that. We do,
Yeah,
but
right.
not a lot of people. So who are we to And that's a problem because if we're trying to go look at the whole um what I'm trying to say, like respecting everybody's choice, decision, welcoming them, that
Yeah.
should be part of it too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately, we're not in a space that, like, I don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
but I do understand it. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna make sure that my student understand that this is a decision. Not like, oh, we're not going there because of you. I'm like, we are a team.
Right.
We win as a team. We lose as a team. We get mandate as a team.
Yeah. We
Like
rise and we fall together.
we fall together. That's what it is, and that's the importance of it. Like that's the lesson there.
Yeah.
I don't. I know it sucks for the student. We're like, I need to go, but yeah.
Yeah. Nah. It just rubbed me the wrong way, man. I was so upset.
I hear
Um,
you.
and like
Some
I'm
people
just
might
like,
disagree, but
yeah.
yeah.
So federal audit slams local district and Massachusetts education departments
Now
oversight.
that's something.
Yeah.
Ain't that something? Keep going. Woo.
Oversight on emergency aid. So if you remember 4 years ago, um, we the in Puerto Rico and US Virgin Islands, we had the Hurricane Maria and Irma, right? And
Yeah,
then
I
we had
remember.
a lot amount of like families, students come to like different states, some of them specifically in Massachusetts. And so the article says more than 6,000 students or families fled to like Massachusetts. Um, and with that, the government gave aid to different school districts, specifically Massachusetts. I think it was like 15 million or something like that. But so the Massachusetts, so there's an audit going on, and it's like some schools or districts have misused the
Where
funds.
the money at? Follow the
Yeah,
money.
by basically shuffling along paperwork and money. Um, and so one of the blurbs from the article says resulting violations are so severe, and these are the two school districts, that Springfield and Worcester might have to return more than 2 million combined if they can't account for the
Two
money.
million.
2 million combined if they can't account for the money that was kind of misused. Among the missteps, the audit identified obtaining aid for students who allegedly were not displaced by the hurricane, spending the money on employees at school with no hurricane victims, and failing to document expenditures for the displaced students with disabilities who garner higher per student allocations for federal aid, meaning
Wow.
that there is no paper trail how this money was used. It probably got into the budget, and then they were just like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it here, do it here, do it here," and like when you receive this type of money, we know you basically you run a program
So,
like.
those students, those 6,000, they went between Springfield and Worcester.
No, so this is the thing. They were dispersed through Massachusetts in different states.
Do we get any in
However,
BPS?
huh?
Do we get any in BPS?
Yes. So here's the other thing. So 67 other districts received the aid, which includes Boston.
Okay.
So that means that hopefully Boston or the schools have a clear record of how that money was being spent for those students that arrived from these different states or countries um, that were impacted by
That's
Irma.
it, trying to put BPS in receivership when they can't even manage.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but the other thing is also that people were in the article. It was saying was that some people felt like there wasn't a clear explanation of what they were supposed to do with this money. But however, if you're receiving money to benefit students that are coming, you know what I mean? Like you're
So
supposed
you're
to spend
getting
it.
money, but you're getting more body into the school, and you have more body operating in the same budget,
Yeah,
reduced budget that you already have,
yeah,
and yet you
yeah,
don't know what to do with that money.
right. So
So you get the money, but you have to, you get the body, or I don't want to say body. You get the students, but they still have to fit under your current budget.
right.
Hmm.
But they received that extra money from the gov. So hopefully, this might, I mean, they do audits all the time, like, so I'm hoping that Boston or BPS has a clear cut like where this money went. But this also talks about what we talked about before, was just like the mismanagement of funds which are being used, and like who is watching Big Brother? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the question. Who is watching Big Brother, and then like who's responsible? Yes, the school has to pay back, the two districts have to pay back like 2 million, but that's also like taken away from students and their education, having the districts pay that money back. So I'm a little torn in between that. Do I think it was wrong if they misused the money? Of course. Um, but it doesn't put the district in any better situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is interesting because I'm interested to see what they did with the money. And the
Yeah,
fact that they said they didn't know what to do with it, it's kind of
yeah,
alarming. But one one question we're not being asked: how are those students that doing so far?
yeah.
4 years
That's
later,
that's a good question.
like where they at. So I think there should be a follow up on that. And even if they like the record shit says like a lot of them are doing better, like they're in the trajectory, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Like that money was given to support them, but
Yeah,
yet school operated with new student under the same budget.
yeah,
Yeah. So you cannot, if there's a finding in that, you cannot legitimize it by,
yeah.
oh, they're doing good. No, no.
Right.
No, I'm interested in that to find out, just because at the end of the people, like
Yeah,
I want to know how they're doing, where they at,
yeah.
yeah.
Same. I think that there needs to, if schools are getting big money like this for students to help them, there needs to be not I'm yes, an audit, but also like someone like a proposal, you know what I mean, on how they are gonna be supporting the students with these funds. I mean, I don't know if that was the
I
case
agree.
for here and it just didn't happen, but I didn't read that there was. So, but yeah, um, it's definitely, I think, something that happens all the time when schools are getting funds from like the government or a program. Like, are you using it for the sake of the students in the right way? Um, so also when I know we talked about it a lot off uh off the pod, our superintendent is leaving. So we will be getting a new superintendent. One thing I did want to bring up, and I know we talked about it before, was I went to a meeting that was put on by the, what's it called? Um
The superintendent search me.
yeah, the search meeting.
Yeah.
So I went there and it was very, very good. Um
I know they had a few different. There was one for student only.
yep,
Yeah, there was. I think there was one in Spanish only. Like
yep,
they had a few different sessions
yeah,
throughout different time for people to be able to join. My schedule, I was not able to join, but you were there.
yeah. That and I commend them for having a lot of different options, because we definitely need that. Also, when I was in those meetings, well, in that particular meeting, there was, staff, faculty, staff, parents. I think there was a couple of students there, and people were just voicing their concerns on what criteria they feel that the superintendent should have. And some of the things that came off the top of that I'm thinking about right now that came off the top of my head. One person said, that they have to be grounded and rooted in, anti-racist practices and able to stand up against like the system that we're working in now and help rebuild that. And also that why do we continue to search for people outside of Boston to run these schools when we have capable people within our within our city to run BPS that are familiar with it, which we have talked about. So I just think that for me, it was a breath of fresh air to hear people talking about that, because I know we talk about it all the time and then like we hear other people, but I just haven't been to a community meeting like that and within BPS, and hearing from like parents and teachers and people, it really gave me hope. I just think that, you know, we need to, not we, BPS, uh you know, just city of Boston in general really needs to listen to the people, and not have this search be so politicized or involved in politics. BPS is slowly declining. In my perspective, we need a revamp. We need a strong leader within the superintendent role to help build this school system back up. Um, yeah, and that and those were, you know, my thoughts about that. I just really enjoyed the meeting.
Yeah, I like what you say, like we need strong leaders, but I would say, if you dive deeper into that, we need consistency.
Yes, yes,
Consistency, because what is, like, 8 superintendent,
bro.
like
I lost
like
count.
7 or 9 years,
Yeah,
we need consistency, right?
yeah.
And I like the fact that you see so many people active, so it gives me hope when I hear that, because we just voted on the Boston School Committee being elected. So with that change, we need a lot of people involved,
Mm-hmm.
to hear. And it's politics. So based on the last format, the superintendent and the school committee were part of the mayor's cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
So we know, since the Boston School Committee is going to be elected, right? We have a new mayor, and I'm interested to see how the superintendent position is going to be shifted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you see a strong leader, we need somebody who's going to come in, take control, and get the ball on the road.
Yep.
Not somebody who's part of the a cabinet and just, like,
Just
I
the
know we
face.
have a new mayor and Michelle who has a plan. I understand that, but I'm pretty sure, like, the next person coming, their views might match on where BPS should be. And
Mm-hmm.
what we need is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And you see someone who's grounded in, was just equity, access, and all that for everyone. I'm all that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there's something you mentioned. Not sure you mentioned it here, but of course, like the fact that we need somebody that's from here
Mm.
and not outside.
Yep.
Here's a question I have. I'm,
Mm.
I'm I want that. Who do we have from here who's a potential candidate? We need to look into that.
Me.
There you go. I'm for it. Make a claim for it. You should.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a desire for better
Yeah.
BPS should make a claim for it. And then
Yeah.
now let's see who's the best fit. I
Yeah.
do agree the person needs to be there, but from here. But also I think about BPS long history.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have we produced? Like, how many students have we produced? Who can be in that city? I don't know. I'm not saying we don't.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, I want to see that list, because there's a lot of people out there we don't know, and I'm interested in find out, because the thing about the way a city is being run, everything is public now. Not that
Yeah.
it wasn't public, but it's public in the way, like, it's out there in your face. It's not
Yeah.
like it's on our website, go see it. No, it's being shared, it's out there in the face. So that's what I like about it. So even if you went looking for it, the information gonna find
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That's the new age of technology, and I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Our new uh, um politician have embraced it, and they
Mm-hmm.
continue to share and put the information in our face. so we know what's going on. So I love that. So I'm interested. I think we should look into that. Who do we have?
Yeah.
Guys, if you know anyone, please send it. We want to look, we want to compare and just put a list together and to see, like, because we've heard that so many times and it
Yeah.
never happened. And I know it's politics. Like,
Hmm.
if you remember, there was a comment made by the current uh superintendent that Boston is way better than um the school is doing way better than the school district. She's from or something like that. And
Yeah.
like the thing about it, even if Boston is doing way better than other places, we can still do better.
Yeah.
And we still have so much things that are not going right now, from
Yep.
push out to prison to school pipeline to
Hmm.
access to uh um what do you call the exam school,
Hmm.
access to epic classes. There's so much, and we have those programs, but there's so much. I'm not going. I think that should be the focus, like
Yeah.
and I'm
Because when
excited
you
for the church.
right, and I love that you said that, bro. Because when you come into a new school system with that mindset, like, oh, the school system is way ahead of, something
Right?
else. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not gonna feel like it's as an emergency to fix
Yeah.
things. So I'm so glad you said that. I was just like, yo, that's a good point.
I don't
Um,
need no one to be comparing Boston to any other school. I
yeah,
want somebody to come in. Okay, this is what Boston. How do we get better? How do we
right,
tackle those things? This is not a compare. This is a soft comparison, not like
yeah,
other state comparison. And we need
yeah,
somebody who's been there, somebody who's been there, who been through it.
yeah.
And yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready for change. And hopefully we can get it right this time. You know what I mean?
we need to, because even that's with the money situation they're looking at, because that receivership is
Yeah, yeah,
looming. Like, if you guys don't know, we talk about that in a few podcasts before
hmm,
about Destiny's trying to put BPS in a receivership where they take
hmm,
control. And they try to do that in 2020.
yeah,
But the current superintendent pushed back on that. And then the mayor and our current elected official are pushing back on that because we have a new system and new mayor and
yeah,
place supervision. We're trying to
yeah,
push back on that, and we're trying to have us be in control, not the state.
yeah,
We need to be in control.
yeah. I also on kind of on that same line, a little bit. I kind of wanted to shout out, all our educators and people that are working with kids. It was kind of alarming, because each year around March, BPS post jobs. People leave every year. So, I was just taking a gander, seeing what's out there. I do it every year.
We're taking a gander.
Yeah, gander. And seeing what's out there. And it was just so alarming to see how many like counseling positions were open at different schools. And
Yeah,
some of it is, you know, um additional funding being added to schools, which is good.
yeah,
A lot of it is also people are tired. These past 2-3 years, it's been challenging for educators, for teachers. Rudy, me and you talk all the time how hard and tired we get. But
exhausted.
they're exhausted, bro. So I wanna encourage new educators that are applying or coming in, and old educators that are leaving or are not going to continue, or new or educators that are already in that system and thinking about leaving. Like, you're seen, we appreciate you guys. Like, try to stick with it. Things are going to get better in due time. But also, like me and Rudy always say, take care of yourself first. If you feel like it's your time to leave, don't feel sorry about that. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. But I wanted to say, and we wanted to say, you are seen. And
Your value,
yeah,
appreciated.
yep,
Yeah,
everything, all that good stuff, all
yeah.
that good stuff.
Can I say something about just the self-care is very important
Mm-hmm.
because there was a time in my life where I remember one day I showed up. I was not feeling well, but I needed to show up to get to work. And my supervisor sent me home, was like, hey, how can you pull from an empty cup?
Mm.
I'm so grateful to be in a position where self-care is valued. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but also like self-care is not luxury.
No.
like like and sexual is not on a birthday, it's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
If for you to do your job, you need to get the massage, get that
Mm-hmm.
nails done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
guys, get your nails done. If you yeah, get your nails done, like get a massage, like get like facial, all of that. You do because you know what comes, like when you feel good,
Yeah. You work
confident,
good.
you work good.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a different energy that comes when the challenge comes to you and you're in your best self.
Yes.
Who is like who you? That's
Yeah.
great. But if you are like pouring from an empty cup,
Mm-hmm.
the slightest challenge that comes towards you will be like the most difficult one.
Mm-hmm.
So take ownership of your self-care. Do it. Don't
I hear that.
like take care of yourself.
Yeah. I
Give yourself
received
up.
that.
Like take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's all I got today, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And we are good. Hopefully this week will be a blessed week.
Yeah.
Everyone keep strong. We are almost there, people. Almost summer.
We
Um,
did March. Have a
yep.
March is the longest stretch.
Yes, bro.
Yes. It's
April
okay.
vacation. I'm ready for it already.
Yeah. We halfway there. So yeah, take care of yourself.
Yep.
Thank you again for your continuous support. We're here,
Always.
we're gonna keep going, keep continuing. Yeah.
And it's straight out of BPS, people.
Podcast. See you next
Peace
time.
out, everybody.